Hello and welcome to Feedback for the week of February 15th, 2010, just in case you didn't know what year it is. Exciting show today because we got a lot of stuff from Microsoft at X10, which stands for X
to the 10.
Yesterday I was calling it 1010.
1010?
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah.
1010.
Yeah. Now, if they got daring and made it like Malcolm X10 and just had a whole different tone to it, it would be awesome. That's all I can say.
All right.
Really?
I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I can't follow that
neither
up.
do I. I just, Didn't you make that joke in college? Like, hey, I really liked Malcolm X, but I really want to see
I
Malcolm
did
11.
make a lot of Malcolm X jokes in
I've
college,
heard that
but
I only went to
I didn't
college a
incorporate
couple
that
of
one.
years ago, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, the 90s. Okay. Anyway, joining us today, if you haven't figured it out already, is Patrick Klebeck.
Hello.
Abby Happy. And very, very recently returned from San Francisco, Andrew Pfister.
Hey.
Who really, really had to, work hard and check out all those games that I wanted to
Poor
see.
soul.
Pity me, please.
Yes, sad. Anyway, before we get to all that good stuff, let's talk about some news that has happened recently involving Activision.
Yeah,
Take it away, Patrick.
Activision just announced that they are laying off 200 people. It's the biggest place it's affecting is Radical Entertainment. Their last game was Prototype. They've laid off about 90 people. There's been layoffs at Neversoft between like 50 and 60 as a result of a lot of shrinking that Activision is going to be doing to the Guitar Hero franchise. And then 2 studios were actually closed. Luxoflux, they used. What was the vehicle games
Vigilante
they used to do?
8, I believe.
Yes, Vigilante
Wow,
8.
that was a long time ago.
And then
They
most
worked on True Crime, right?
I think
yes,
so,
True
yes.
Crime 2. Are
Yes.
both of them?
Streets of LA.
But not the current one that
No.
Activision is working on.
No. And then they most recently did Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen. So a little bit.
Yeah, that's
A little fall from grace.
Obviously, yeah. I don't want to laugh too much about people losing their jobs. Now, is it all on the devs, or is there any corporate layoffs? That's happening
As far as
well?
we know, it's all in devs. The other team that was affected was formerly Z-Axis, which did, if you remember, the Rockstar Games skateboarding game Thrasher, Skate and Destroy from
Wow.
way back when. Then
That
they
is from way
became
back when.
Wow,
Yeah.
no, that's when I started hosting.
Yeah.
Thrasher. That was in the first couple of years.
And that's PS1.
Yeah, that was the realistic one that went
Yes.
opposite the first Tony Hawk.
That game-
I remember
that game was
talking about
kick-ass,
that
too.
on the set with where we had the TVs with the flames on it and the shadow of a chain link fence. Like I was giving back alley reviews on ZDTV.
Oh, God.
Yeah, oof, boy, there was
Desperate
Inspirato.
times.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so that, anyway, that studio became Underground, which most recently worked on Guitar Hero Van Halen, a game that Activision kind of dumped.
Yeah,
So
that did get much
it's
love.
regardless of whatever these teams were working on, it's sad to hear that
Right.
200 people are looking for a new job.
Now, this was part of. Now, was it the financial year-end call with the analysts?
Yeah,
or?
that
Okay.
just happened, and then immediately following that, a lot of people were brought into meetings and talked about that. There was a lot of things that went into this. Radical Entertainment is working on the Spider-Man film, so the recent switch up with that, pushing that movie back a full year, affected that
So
team.
pretty much,
Yeah.
this has proven what we all know is true, that the acquisition of Prototype, which everyone thought was going to somehow find its way into a Spider-Man game,
Was going to.
It has borne fruit.
So they're still working on that, but now it's a much smaller team because they have until 2012 because Sam Raimi's not working on it anymore. And then the other big thing was that they announced they're really scaling back Guitar Hero as a result that not many people are buying music games anymore.
Yeah.
Far fewer than were 4 years ago. And so for comparison, last year they released 29 different versions of Guitar Hero. Now that means across
all SKUs, right?
all
I was gonna say,
SKUs
'cause I
across
can't
every
name that
platform.
many.
Although really, if you think it was actually more like 22, wasn't it? But yeah, so like 29 is across every single platform, but they're reducing that to 10, and they're eliminating the PS2 version, so they're no longer supporting the PlayStation 2. But even still, 10, that's a significant reduction and suggests that there's only going to be Guitar Hero 6 and Band Hero, and
Yeah.
that will be their 2 SKUs. They're getting rid of Band Hero as a hardware, just going to be software, and then they did say that they're only doing 2 big music games next year, which is Guitar Hero whatever and DJ Hero 2.
I'm not sad to see or to realize that there's not going to be any more disc based on bands because that just needs to be DLC.
It just I think it was fun in the when it first started,
Yeah.
but you're asking a lot of your audience to continually go to the store and plop down $60.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you're going to do it, I guess, how, Rock Band is doing it, where, sell it on a disc, but it's also a reduced price. You pay $30 and you get some extra stuff, and you can also export that. I'm okay with that, but the idea of, it's actually a $30 disc, but we're just going to put some other bands on there that they're influenced by, and that gets you to 60. That's the stuff
we
that's
talking
really
about
frustrating.
Van Halen?
Yeah.
That's what happens when you let
Children.
Children. Seriously, that's what happens when you let them choose the tracks. Oh God, it was so bad.
Now, did Kotick give an impression as to what he thought accounted for this softening of interest in the Guitar Hero games?
A lot of it is, and a lot of the reason the profits are down is because people just aren't buying hardware anymore. People have their peripherals, they're happy with them. The differences between one year to the next are not significant anymore. So it seems like they're pulling out of that market, which really, if you look at the financials for MTV Games and for Activision, they're always losing money on the hardware. Activision finally they get a razor thin margin, so they're making a little bit, but it's,
Not
what's
enough.
the point when you're making a couple bucks on a guitar? And MTV hasn't figured that out yet, so they're essentially pulling out of the hardware game. You'll probably still see one big bundle, but in terms of that being like a selling point anymore, I don't think we're going to see like fancy new track pads on our guitars. I think it's just going to be what you saw before. They can make it cheaper now, and that's sort of the thing. The also thing they said was that the casual market is sort of sticking with the games they already have. They're not picking up a new
they don't have the
installment.
discretionary money that they want to be spending on games. They're doing it for something else. There's only hardcore gamers that are really
They
buying
don't
games
see
right now.
They look at it and like we get all excited about like an all play mode or something, but they don't.
They're fine with like their 30 songs on
They
their
pull
disc.
out that game, every couple of months when friends or family around and they want to sit around and drink and have some fun, and they're not. They've annualized and like monthualized these kinds of franchises so much.
I play Guitar Hero and Rock Band all the time, and it's still and all the extra ones are still too much for even me to keep up. And I would consider myself a hardcore player.
You definitely are. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's sort of Activision it's kind of an admission that they exploited the market and are going more towards the Rock Band model.
That's what I was but not just with Guitar Hero. I mean, what seems to always be indicative of Activision is this seems to be working. How are we just going to overuse it to the
how
point
can we
that
do more
we're going to
with
actually water down the strength of the brand? I guess I'm still just kind of astonished that they're going to go ahead and have another Tony Hawk Ride game.
That was the other thing. Yeah, are you as astonished given probably how much they spent building that peripheral?
No,
at least in
you
R&D?
build a peripheral like that, and you have to make more than one game.
So
They probably planned for that way ahead of time.
Yeah. I imagine this was in the works before reviews were even in.
But it just seems like the era of the big peripheral that Activision was really leading the charge on, as I think we had all prophesized, is slowly coming to bite them in the ass.
That's why DJ Hero was put in development. That's why they have a Band Hero spinoffs. They have a whole other set of peripherals. That's why every year there were all these new guitars, and now we're finding that people we said it first because we were hoarding these things, and now everyone else is catching up and just not buying them.
Yeah.
What if you made like Guitar Hero Jonas Brothers? Would that sell?
That's called Band Hero.
True, it is. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, and you know what? I think that's the most valuable SKU.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be young preteen girls. And there's always going to be bands that are being sold to them. I think Band Hero is something that can probably last for the next 10 years.
Yeah, have you gone
always
to
have
Toys
a
R Us and seen the really girl-oriented
because there's always going to be new 12-year-olds,
Like,
and so you can sell it
High
to them.
School Musical Karaoke Revolution
God.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's got to be.
And
insanely
it sounds
popular.
like they're looking at those two brands as, and on one hand, you've got sort of the younger market, so the teen tween market, and then Guitar Hero will probably increasingly become more hardcore. It might go back to the people that really loved Guitar Hero 2 and especially 3 for how hard and difficult they were. Maybe they're just figuring that's two different audiences like music games, and instead of trying to appeal to a wide audience, they're just going to kind of break it down the middle, which might not be a bad idea.
All right, well, enough about Activision and games that seem to be only infrequently get us very, very, very excited. Now let's turn over to Andrew Pfister, who, now that I look at the list of all the games you saw, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I was supposed to go to this damn thing. My schedule got all screwed up, and I'm like, what did I do?
Everyone was asking where you were and where Abby was, and then when I told them that I'm the only one, the reaction was, "You're the only one they sent."
Wow. Who's everyone?
Yeah.
I bet it was just Ricardo who wanted to give me stink eye.
It's a lot of our fellow journalist friends. Some developer friends as well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it was obviously a shame, but it is a busy time. And it's funny with stuff going on. Let's get an overall impression. I mean, if you're looking at, there was everything but Final Fantasy 13. Is it exclusive to the 360 that you saw?
I believe so.
Yeah. I mean,
What do you mean?
Oh, in terms of, obviously, there might be a PC SKU, but I mean, we saw some stuff from Capcom, like Dead Rising 2 and Lost Planet 2.
Lost Planet 2, Fable, Halo, Crackdown. Pretty
And
much
what
all
is your
360
overall
stuff.
impression? I mean, is this like, if we're looking at games that are coming out in the next year?
Yeah, as
I mean,
far
this
as
is a
like
very strong lineup.
comprehensive events, this was one of the more positive ones I've seen. Like I found something appealing in pretty much everything I saw.
All right. Well, let's start.
Where do you want to
with-
start?
Yeah, I want to start with the game that got you clearly excited. And if you guys out there have not, yes, I know it's Crackdown. If you have not seen his write-ups on these games, really you got to read them because it got me excited last night reading them. I was all like, "Ooh, Crackdown!" It made Andrew happy. So how happy did it make you?
It made me very, 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 very happy. The 3 big games were Halo, Fable, and Crackdown. They did. We couldn't play any of those, but they did playable demonstrations of it.
Oh, Abby and I got to play Crackdown 2 with TGS.
We did. We played
Single
it in
player?
Tokyo. No, multiplayer.
So maybe we both lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do any of us have it now?
No.
Then we all lose.
I'm still playing the first one. Yeah, I have 10 more agility orbs. Do you
Yeah, I
know
mean,
that's
how
the-
the hell
that's the-
I'm going to find
That's the
those?
thing about this demo is that it was the most like simplest, like less structured demos of the big 3. But the instant he turned it on, he went right for a homing rocket launcher, just blew a big crowd away. Then, like in the distance, I see that little green thing, and I start to get antsy. I'm like, why aren't you going for that? Why aren't you going? Give it to me, and I will get it for you.
Do you not see that?
Do you not
It's
see that?
right
Okay.
behind
It's right
you.
there.
I have to ask, do you see the same emphasis on driving in this one?
This
that
is the
you
best
saw in
news.
This is the
first
best
one?
news.
It's a leading question. I know the answer I want to hear.
They instantly acknowledged that the first Crackdown didn't do a very good job of encouraging you to level up your driving skills. So that pretty much everyone who played it, that was the least level
Yeah.
up
It was
skill.
the last thing that I
It was-
added.
yeah, me too. And they didn't go into specifics about what they're doing, but they said that driving is much more encouraged this time and more fun to do with vehicles. So, one thing they did demonstrate was at night the freaks come out and it's this big
Right.
horde of zombies. So the dude gets in the car, just mows down the entire horde and does like a little U-turn, comes back, mows down the rest of them, and just orbs flying everywhere. And
So is
Awesome.
it sort of like Crackdown, but like a more hyperventilated version of it?
It looked like there was more stuff to play with. Like what we saw in the demo when we were in Tokyo was he had taken, there was like a smokestack basically, and he took a bunch of cars and threw every single car into it, then threw a bunch of explosives down it, and then it was just cars flying out of this smokestack. And like,
Yeah.
That was the thing. Is
Like,
there was
some
a
cool
playground
stuff.
feeling to the original Crackdown.
And they seem to
But
be
this was
acknowledging
like-
that.
yeah.
As if they're
Well-
like, don't reinvent the wheel. We don't want you to reinvent
Yeah.
the wheel.
No,
This is
no,
one of
not
those
at all.
situations where we just want more of the same
Oh,
with
more
more
toys.
cool stuff.
they know
Yeah.
that. And the guy from Ruffian who was doing the playthrough, he was playing it exactly how I would have played through it. Just like, oh, there's something over here. Rocket. Boom. Oh, I'm going to get in the new agency helicopter, which is rad. Because because it's 4-player co-op, 3 of you guys can hold on to the skids. And they didn't show that they could fire like hanging off the skids, but the helicopter itself has dual mounted rocket launchers on it. So
Even our camera guys are freaking out right now.
so what they did is there was only 2 of them, and he dropped in. It's drop in, drop out co-op. So he dropped in. They got in the chopper, took it like way up high, and they both jumped out at the same time, and they did this like synchronized tandem like skydive in the new wingsuit.
Oh
The
my
wingsuit is
God.
a glider suit,
Oh yeah.
and it's unpowered flight, but it's like like in pilot wings, if you got a hang glider, if you do like that and then quickly
Right,
pull
right.
back up, you'll swoop back up, or you can just power dive into a group of enemies below. I want this.
This just wow.
Also, renegade orbs that fly away from you,
Oh, that's just.
as if you needed another reason to chase them down.
Wow,
I'm so
this is, I
excited.
mean, it's neat. Now, obviously, this isn't being made by Real Time Worlds. This is
Ruffian.
Ruffian Games.
which is like 3/4 of the
Yeah,
original
it-
Crackdown
yeah,
team.
exactly.
They just ditched.
Yeah.
But I guess the story behind Crackdown is so interesting because this game was released, I believe, in like February.
Yeah,
Late
But
February.
it came
Yeah.
with the Halo 3 beta.
Because everyone
So
thought this
everyone
game,
got it.
But everyone thought the game just needed a lot of help. I think everyone was kind of like, whatever, it's Crackdown. This game comes out, and everyone's like, my God, this game is awesome. I think Microsoft went, whoa, everyone likes this game. No one was expecting a sequel, and they had to kind of scramble and get Ruffian Games to start working on it. What's your sense of their attitude towards the game? 'Cause, I mean, it's this beloved franchise that came out of nowhere.
They seemed as enthusiastic about it as the people watching it.
That's
when we
that's
It
saw
was a
them
very
at-
friendly, like, oh, watch me do this. Boom. Can't wait to do that, can't you?
I
Yeah,
love,
when we
I
saw
love
them
it
in
when I
Tokyo,
see a
it was the
developer
same.
do that, when you just know that they're kind of
I
proud
mean,
of their
that was so
creation.
great when we saw it in Tokyo. Was like they were like, okay, the game's not looking that great right now, so you can video it because you can see some cool stuff, but please excuse the fact that it kind of looks like crap. And like they were just so confident that you were going to get what they were going for,
Yeah.
and they were so excited about what they were making that they knew that you were going to look past the textures popping and all that stuff. And that's when you knew
totally.
you have a developer that was not only knows what they're doing, but was such a fan of like what they did that they're just iterating on that, and it's going to be amazing.
Okay, I think we can all say all four of us in this room have just been all the more excited.
We'll be on that.
about
We'll be on
Crackdown 2.
that helicopter this summer.
Okay, Halo Reach. And
Yes.
before we get your impressions on Halo Reach, because I've seen some emails, I think I've even felt this way. What exactly is Halo Reach? I mean, because we've seen the series make a left turn with ODST. What is Reach?
They seem to be turning back to Halo Combat Evolved.
Okay.
They're kind of keeping it simple. They're reducing the amount of weapons and grenades. Like there's only 2 types of grenades as opposed to like the 3 or 4 you had in 3. They're taking out the items that you used in 3 and incorporating that into your suit, so you have suit enhancements. And that's why people, I think, are getting confused with the whole squad thing.
Right.
Like if you have like a specialty, what I think they're going to do is whatever weapon you pick up, combine that with whatever armor enhancements you have, and there's your class. Like that's going to be your style of play.
So is it more of an evolving sense of class too, depending on how you might be changing your character?
I think so. They didn't. They're being very withholding with
There's a lot
information.
they're not
Really?
telling
Bungie?
right now.
Bungie
Yeah.
keeping things
No,
close
no,
to the
I
And
don't
chest?
get it.
I was telling you earlier before the show, like I'm really excited for this game, despite their best efforts to get me excited for this game, because that first trailer was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
dramatic, and then the demo yesterday was them doing a fly through one of the beta maps.
Yeah, the stuff that we saw yesterday looks
Yeah.
awesome.
It looked
Yeah.
good, but they didn't show any like combat or play. They just showed off the gun sounds and the gun sparks,
I mean,
which are cool.
the visual fidelity is undeniably impressive. It
Yeah.
really, my God, we've needed to see that for a Halo game. I think,
And that's
for quite
something
some
they're
time.
really stressing is that they're throwing out a lot of their old technology and a lot of their old. They said a lot of their old content attached to that technology. So they're starting from pretty much the ground up on this.
And they're doing this on what they're really saying is their last Halo game.
That seems to be
Interesting.
it. Yes. So what would all this new technology be used for after?
Now, I think the one thing that I keep on wondering about is this game, I think, would be an easy sell if it said Halo 4. Obviously, with ODST, which I think confused a lot of the more casual consumers out there, I keep on wondering, I mean, is Halo Reach designed for anybody who likes Halo, or is it sort of more of a refined game for the the people who really got into ODST?
I mean, the classic Halo fans aren't going to be alienated because they're redoing the elites, they're redoing the grunts. Like they know that people want that kind of backstory. They're not taking it too far away, like maybe ODST was. Like you're going to see Spartans fighting. You're not going to see like the ODST guys running around in their little wimpy armor. So
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely
I
excited.
think part of it too is that like the ODST marketing campaign was very subdued on purpose. So I think when this starts rolling out this fall, you're going to know that
Yeah.
this is a new Halo. You should
Yeah.
give a
Yeah,
crap about.
I think this is going to have the marketing muscle that you didn't see for ODST.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're going to
Behind
see
this,
definitely.
we're going to see the giant Mountain Dew cans.
Yes, because it's kind of like when you see the pumpkins in the department store, back in July, you know that the fall is coming.
And it'll be interesting because they didn't announce a release date yet for it, right?
no, not
So-
for the game, but the beta is
The beta is May,
3rd.
and I'll be curious to see where that lands. If it lands on the traditional September
September,
date,
yeah.
given that makes fall really interesting for Microsoft. That Fable is with holiday-ish, and then is the entire fall in the tall.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Possible.
interesting. I mean, obviously, let's just get to Fable 2 because that's the biggest Natal issue. And you didn't see any Natal with Fable 3.
No, they were playing through a live demo of it, but there was no Natal hardware anywhere. Some of the guys asked Peter Molyneux, who was giving the demo himself, about it, and he was very, very, very non-committal about it. He said he clarified it's not going to be 100% Natal like people were freaking out about.
Right.
They're
Yes.
still considering different concepts to incorporate into it, but there's no decision which way. So
It was almost like, even though this game is supposed to be coming out later this year, they don't know how this brand new piece of tech is necessarily going to be incorporated into the game.
right, and the stuff they showed us in the game
Or they do, and someone was able to keep Peter Molyneux quiet.
I know. Well,
that seems
I
unlikely.
did ask Andrew, who the handler that's always there with Peter Molyneux, Kathy. Usually you kind of see a glare come out of her eyes as he gets excited to say something.
He was very being very forthcoming with information and giving very honest answers, but there's no Natal anything like the stuff that they showed playable looks like advanced Fable. They didn't overhaul it much except for what we'll get into with the weapon system and the experience system. There's no visible hooks for any Natal stuff from what we saw.
That's interesting. Now, one of the things he did make out as a hook is touch. Now, obviously, that's not touch with Natal. That's actual hand-holding between characters.
Between an NPC and your playable character. And it's something I realized I don't think I've seen much in games before.
Eco, that's it.
Yeah, that's the only thing. And he's very much going for that same emotional resonance.
But what I think is neat is it sounds like hand-holding doesn't necessarily mean we're friends.
Oh, no.
It can lead to some rather unsavory
This was hilarious. He demonstrated it twice. The first one was you have to go find your daughter who's like in the streets somewhere. So you go find her and you take her hand and you start leading her home, and then you walk close to the entrance of a pub, and the daughter was like, "Mom doesn't like it when you go here," and he's like, "Oh, okay." So takes her back.
A vision of my future.
Yeah.
Well, guess what Mom's not going to like tonight?
I don't want to play Fable 3.
That was more like a vision of my childhood.
I bet it's possible you could drag the girl into the pub. So
E3 demo.
And the second instance was a bum was sleeping in the alleyway, and you can pick him up and take his hand and try to help him, or you can drag him to the local factory and try to sell him into servitude.
Wow.
We all know what Adam's going to do.
Are you sure you weren't actually doing this on the streets of San Francisco?
Yeah.
I did go to the Boot Bar.
I'm trying to think of the factory, and there's one factory that's actually coming to mind. It has a lot of power.
Cheesecake?
So,
are you like convinced on like how? Because I can almost see. This seems like it might get a little tiresome.
Well,
it seems like it could be gimmicky.
I never go into a Fable game convinced of anything. I just take enjoyment where I find it. The touch stuff looks interesting. I think it'll be cool. What I'm really excited about is that the pregame and then like the second half of the game. The first half of the game, you're leading a rebellion against like the evil tyrant ruling the land, and you eventually win and you overthrow him. And the entire second half of the game is you ruling the people that you just liberated. And he when he announced it at Gamescom back in August or whatever, he was very much on like the whole political thing, like the challenge of leaders in their first 100 days or their first year or whatever. And he brought like Obama up again and how difficult he's having it right now. And then someone asked him like, what's the story going to be? Because you can still do Fable gameplay. You can still go out and be like the hero king and do all that stuff. But someone asked him like, what's the story going to be? And he was very coy suddenly about that. It's like, well, I don't want to talk too much about it because it might reveal how clever we're being with it.
I can see him saying this.
Instantly set off in my mind, when you're king, you screwed over a bunch of people. Some of those people had kids like you were once, and you have to fend off what you did.
Yeah.
The consequences of your
turning the
actions.
tables.
Now that we've thought about it, I really hope that's there because that's really cool. Obviously, he has been obsessed with the sense of consequence in his games. And there was a touch of it in Fable 2, but it was very, I wouldn't want to say heavy-handed, but it was very obvious. And I really like the idea that you really could sow the seeds of your own demise without even realizing it in the beginning of the game. I mean, especially in this post-heavy rain world for me, I'm just obsessed with things like this.
Some of the more significant gameplay changes were there's no more health bar. It goes to like an FPS, like the world gets blurry and red while you're not doing very well.
And then if you just don't get hit, do you just...
I believe it comes back.
The weapon stuff is the stuff that
the
sounds
weapon
really
stuff is
incredible.
the most interesting. You start out with a basic weapon, and it just changes how you use it, who you use it against, and it changes shape, color, the glow, depending on if you kill innocent people or if you kill your enemies.
It's kind of like Oblivion, like what you do in the world affects the attributes of your weapon rather than your character.
And the weapon gets powerful just visually, and there's no like stats, there's no numbers to it.
Well, this has always been his goal. I mean, really, if you go as far back as the original Fable, the original promise was, if you use a lot of, this arm whacking someone, you're going to start to see muscles that appear that, are demonstrative. I love the idea of the organic development of
And having this, I think one other detail I saw was that when eventually, as the weapon evolves, it becomes locked to your gamer tag essentially, and becomes identified specifically as your weapon. That I imagine you must be able to trade or something like that eventually.
He said something about gamer score as well, and I didn't get clarification on that, but definitely stuff with the gamer
Abby,
tag.
it will maybe if it taps into your gamer score, won't that work out really well for you? You play a lot of games.
Okay, yeah.
You got really suspicious of my...
I just like Patrick identifying Abby. He's like, well, you play a lot of games, which makes you different from us in this room. So
Yeah.
She's a little
Wait
more
a minute.
She's a little more
By the
hardcore
time
about
Fable 3
him.
comes out, I'll be pretty high up there.
What's your gamer score?
47.
Yeah, see-
No, 43,700. Why do I know this off the top of my head?
That was
that
my
doesn't
whole
surprise
point.
me, Abby.
That was my whole
Clap it.
point.
Yeah,
So-
it's 43,703.
Boom.
See, I have the whole excuse, as you guys do too, that I should have a higher gamer score, but I play so much on debugs.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Oh, wait,
Definitely.
33, because
Definitely.
I just got
Yeah.
some Aliens versus Predator ones upstairs. Sorry.
So let's move on from Fable 2 to
Okay.
the other game with the 2 that has me very, 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 very
Fable
excited.
3.
Fable 3. Sorry, I keep Fable 3, Fable 2. This is more the year of threes, I think, than twos.
It is, there's a lot. There's both. There's a lot of both.
Yeah, they just need to have subheadings and get the numbers out of here.
Yeah.
Dead Rising 2. Yay.
Yay. I went into this demo pretty blind on Dead Rising. I've been keeping kind of a media blackout on it. The big part of the demo, the big selling point they wanted to get across was combination weapons. So I started the playable demo and I saw a sledgehammer. Oh, cool. I get to use a sledgehammer and bash zombies in. That's awesome. And then within about 2 minutes, the Capcom rep said, why don't you give that controller to me? He plays it and he whips out this paddle, like a boat paddle.
Yeah, you can see that in the trailer now, yeah.
2 chainsaws attached to each end, and you just rip through the zombie horde like American Gladiator pugilist.
Now, how do you put it all together? Assuming you found an ore and you found 2 chainsaws.
Yeah. So the combinations you find on you're given to as combo cards, and the way you get the combo cards is that you look around the environment, and in this instance, it was on a movie poster with a guy with like 2 chainsaws and a paddle. So your guy's like, that's a great idea. Boom, you get the combo card, and then you get the items.
That's cool.
In your workshop, you put both of them on the table, and you combine them, and then that's what you get. So
they didn't say it's necessarily always movie posters?
That's the only thing that I saw. It seemed to indicate that inspiration was a general term.
I like the potential satire here that this violent media actually gives inspiration for violence that actually is for the good of society.
Yeah.
There's something kind of clever there that, there was enough satire in the first Dead Rising. I'd hope to play with that.
Some of my other favorite combinations were the electric rake, the portamower, which is a portable lawnmower. And this one, you pick up just like the push lawnmower. It doesn't have the handle on it. You hold it like this. So if you're walking in the horde, you can just kind of slice them up. But if you isolate one of them, you go top down and just like a paper shredder is amazing. Knife gloves, boxing gloves with knives stuck in them. Dynamite, which is a stick of dynamite and a severed hand. Combine them together, throw them into the horde. They all gather around and say, hey, what's up with that? Boom. And then there is a stage with a guitar on it. And I asked him, can I combine that guitar with anything? He's like, maybe? not wanting to talk about every single combination. But this game will be fun.
Now, obviously, some of the things I think were the biggest hang-up for people that played the original Dead Rising was, well, I think it's a mixture. If one of the 2 things worked, it would have been fine. But the very strange saving structure and the very poor support AI. I mean, is the game based on you still trying to save people? Because I think for most people, that was really tough.
Yeah,
you had to
there
work
was.
around
The
it.
premise of the game, as far as I know, is that it's based on in the future, there's a reality show. Based, kind of like Running Man.
Running
where,
Man? Yeah, that was immediately
exactly
what
it.
I went to.
Apparently,
Yeah.
the only television show in the future is The Running Man. That is what science fiction has taught us.
I wanna
Have
get
you ever
to the
tried to
future.
show it to
Where
someone
is
who's
the
significantly
future?
younger, and they're kind of like, why do you love this movie so much? Because it looks...
Every
And
network,
it never gets
20 years
replayed.
from now.
That's one of the few movies that doesn't suck. That isn't on our movies that don't suck.
Yeah,
Here
but
on
I've
G4.
seen it on TV.
We'll talk to someone about that. We'll get that on there. I'm really excited about this game. They didn't go into the save system, but I gotta think that they're gonna fix it They're going to make it more.
I mean, the weird thing about Dead Rising 1's save system was it wasn't until someone explained to me, like, really, like, you go into the game thinking you're going to play it traditionally as a linear game.
Right.
They just communicated it so poorly. If it had been communicated that you're supposed to die, and you're supposed to die a lot, I think people would have gotten a little more into it. Because that was my thing. I played like an hour.
Really
played like an hour and a half, and I was like, yeah, what? I don't get it. And it wasn't until someone was like, no, you're supposed to die. You're supposed to keep going back, and you keep powering up. And so maybe they could do it again, but I can't imagine it's going to be as strict as it was.
And I never got the whole thing about, like, you're supposed to die, and I realized that I was leveling up and I was able to start at that level. But the whole point for me of that save system and that trying to get through there in that amount of time was like, oh, shit, I'm actually in a horror movie. And then it became this, like, I can't die, I have to stay alive, don't let anything kill me, because, like, that was the goal to me, but I didn't realize that I would have to die many
also,
times.
it was a feeling that they were
able to do
hiding
that.
content for, like, I can't see everything.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like, that's such a weird idea that a developer wouldn't want you to see all of their creation.
If I had to guess, just based on the premise of like a TV show, like episodes, the demo was get 20,000 points in 10 minutes. I think it's going to be like mission structured like that.
Okay.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, let's talk about, and this will be our last one from X10, the game that's coming out the soonest, Alan Wake. And that is going to be on May 18th. I think even though we finally really saw the game in action at E3 last year, people still don't know what to make of it. Do you know what to make of it?
I was surprised by it because it turns out to be a lot more action based than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shooting in the demo I played.
Where in the game did you get a sense of where it is?
Early.
They showed one part that was early. We had them down here, too, while you were up there. And they did. They showed one part that was early and then one part that was significantly later. Well, you were there for...
Yeah, the stuff that I played last night was pretty much the very beginning of the game where Alan survives a car crash or, like, in his dream state or in his, like, whatever, like, half-fiction state. Wakes up from a car crash and goes through the forest at night, and he sees a gas station way in the distance, but he has to, like, go down the hills and go through all the forest, and that's when he starts to encounter all the weird crap that's going on. I'm a huge X-Files fan, and I know Patrick's a big X-Files fan.
And every time when they pitch, they're like,
I'm an X-Files fan, too!
Adam and I are total... I watch it every night still. I record it on
when
DVR.
did the show end? Season 5?
Yeah.
So the very first episode that really solidified my love of X-Files was the one that happened in the Pacific Northwest with the bugs or whatever that could only come out in the dark.
Yeah.
It's a very similar thing. Like, the enemies are very reactive to light. You essentially have two weapons. You have your gun and you have your flashlight, and you're constantly reloading between the two. You're reloading ammo and you're reloading your batteries.
If you don't have the light on them, your gun isn't effectively hurting them.
That's right, because it makes them vulnerable.
Because the other thing that they take cues from is Twin Peaks, which I'm also obsessed with, and the diner that you go to in the very beginning of the game. Because I've gone up and gone to actually like Twin Peaks outside of Seattle, and it is a dead-on like replication of the R&R from Twin Peaks. It was really exciting. It was just like, oh, good, and they got it right.
There's definitely like a tone of like creepy America.
Like, they always describe it as X-Files Twin Peaks Lost. And I'm just like,
Which is so exciting.
Okay.
How could I not like that?
So in terms of gameplay, how would you categorize it? Is there another game out there that you can draw a comparison to?
Resident Evil, maybe 4 and 5.
Yeah.
That's the thing that immediately leaps to mind.
It does have more of an action feel than the last two Resident Evils.
Because you can walk through the area and just hold your gun up and just kind of strafe around and look like it's not like a adventure game. It's more of an action shooting game, which I'm surprised by and excited for.
At TGS, they did show a slower part though. It was a sequence where you're the police are chasing you, and it involved no actual shooting whatsoever, and you were just running through the forest, and like the trees were swaying, kind of like the smoke monster attacking people on the island.
Oh, definite smoke monster.
And you don't shoot anyone. You're just seeing crazy screwed up stuff happening around you. So I'm secretly hoping that. I know Remedy can do good action. Like, I love the Max Payne games, but I'm hoping that other half they kind of showed at TGS, the quieter moments where just weird stuff is happening around you. I feel like that doesn't demo as well.
No.
And that's something they want you to, and that's part of the whole mythology. And they're like, when I asked them, well, how does that play and what is that thing moving around? I was like, we don't want to show it because we don't want anyone to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm like, every indication I've got from them is like those quiet moments you want, they're there. We're just not going to show them to you because that there's no reason to.
And what we saw of it too, as you're kind of progressing through the world, you're finding pages of the book that you wrote, and and then you'll see something, and then what happens on those pages, then you're seeing kind of real life. And my question for them, which I got a sort of answer to, was, are most of the payoffs of those pages that you find going to be immediate? Or is there some stuff that you're going to find and then it's going to, come full circle later?
Yeah, planting the seeds early.
I should never have even asked, but
you don't really want to know the answer.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
Maybe.
really want to
You're
know.
not going to get an answer.
But I got one of those kind of coy, smiley things.
Sure.
It's like, oh,
Maybe.
perhaps.
I think the only thing that gives me some pause about the game is that, there's so much I admire about Remedy and those guys. The Max Payne games were so deadly serious that they started to move sometimes into the world of lampooning themselves without knowing it. I mean,
really? I always thought they were in on the joke.
I thought so too, and then throughout time, I became more and more convinced that no, this was deadly serious.
I'm okay with that. But I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're, because it doesn't seem like this is supposed to be Max Payne talking to himself.
No.
It seemed pretty serious.
Well, with that, thank you again. Andrew, for
Quite welcome.
traveling,
for checking out all those
city by the
amazing
For
bay.
doing my job and earning my paycheck.
Yeah. Let's chat for a bit, and I think we'll chat just briefly this week. Our game of the week,
Yes.
Dantes Inferno, which you and I chatted about far too much.
Yeah.
Abby's played far too much of. I don't know.
I played the demo.
He played the
I
demo
only
of
beat
the game.
it 2.5 times.
I know.
All right, so everyone's read my review, and they've heard us talk. I'd rather hear what you guys think of it, and then we can maybe go from there. So, Abby, you've played it 2.5 times. Does that mean you like it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
What I liked, obviously, like the first playthrough was, my favorite one.
Yeah.
The second time around, I was just trying to get all of my unholy tree
Good or
filled
evil?
out. Both, because if you play good or evil in that game, you're missing the point.
Yes.
Yes.
I missed the point. I'll
Okay.
point that.
both of us did.
Because if you go through the skill trees at the beginning, it becomes very clear that like the holy powers are, I think, generally more helpful. I ended up using those more than I used anything else, and
I had no idea. I had no idea you could heal yourself until the very end of the game.
That's a really good
kind of an
special
important.
trait. Yeah.
Yeah. Abby goes. There's like, how did you have so much trouble with the last boss? It's like, well, I kept getting hit and died. Like, why don't you just like
Regenerate your
heal
health
yourself?
with
I'm like,
the thing.
I don't know, because I had no idea that power existed.
I mean, it is funny that.
I loved seeing you get punished for being evil like you always are.
I know,
in
Ty was
games.
playing a game evil, but I love the guys over at Visceral Games, and I think they made a fine, solid game. But it is funny that in this era where almost all games you play is just whole hog, good or bad, that when presented with the tree, that there was no little guy that popped up on the bottom of the screen going, "Hey, it ain't Mass Effect, it ain't Fallout, it ain't Fable." So
You're supposed to do both.
Really, don't.
What I liked more than anything, I think, for the game was the art direction. I loved it. It kept me playing through the whole time. I like, what tongues and nipples? Sure. Like, there are some weird things, and it's really creepy, and it's really
That's
cool
the appeal I
looking.
got from the demos. I want to see their visual interpretation of
This
the
is exactly
the poem.
why I love the Ghost and Goblin series. Is that when I was a kid, and why that was the game that made the first big impact on me was I only wanted to succeed in the game so I could see what the next level looked like.
My first video game related nightmare as a child was from Ghosts and Goblins.
Really, what was it?
It was one of those big demon guys. Like I thought I saw him walking in the hallway like at night. And
They didn't even walk. in that
Mom
game.
was like,
They would just
"No
kinda
games for 2 weeks."
They would always kind of like shuffle
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm a scary demon dude.
But
Scary demon
he was
dude."
tired. He didn't realize
Yeah.
it was a 2D plane.
Yeah.
So
I was 18. I was going through some things.
I had a burrito.
I mean, one of the things that came up a lot in my reviews that I cited a number of times, God of War, and one of the things that the readers kind of kicked back with me was in the idea of like, how much should you cite something? How much should you compare a game to another game? And I found with Dantes Inferno, it is impossible to play that game, to look at that game and not have God of War on your mind at all times.
Yeah, and I agree with
the
that.
combat is lifted from God of War, and I pointed out in my review, I was a compliment they got it so right. When I could just jump into that game, and I felt like I was.
You know exactly what's going on.
I was getting a
Perfect in
Kratos
tune,
vibe, and like
And
3
the
or 4
special
hours.
abilities you get, everything, they're really good. I think Visceral does a great job at taking kind of other people's game. I mean, even Dead Space was very Resident Evil when you take the space skin
And it's
off of
hard.
it.
Look how many games fail at copying.
Yeah.
They did a
They
great
do a
job.
great job
They
at
did a
it.
great job of transplanting that gameplay we already like, and then doing a little bit different with. Not enough that it like really blew me away, but that I really enjoyed it. And then especially so if you don't have a PS3, if you've never played God of War, Dantes Inferno is going to be a lot more fun because like you haven't experienced that type of game before.
Yeah.
Obviously, Heaven's Cloud 001, which really should just be Heaven's Cloud 1 when you think about it, He doesn't share anything with us. I'm getting sick of hearing that this game was a God of War clone. Sure, it is a hack and slash, but seriously, that's like saying all racing simulators are GT clones. It's just silly. I think this deserved a better score, but I will still pick it up, meaning you haven't played it.
Yeah.
No, sweetie, really. You cannot look, it's like, kid, you cannot look at that game and, as Patrick said, and not think of God of War.
Hold on, let's get to the final line from Heaven's Cloud, 001.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not.
I believe it will still be a great retelling of the book. Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's as I said, I thought that EA wildly overplayed the influence that the poem had on the book. The poem sets up a fantastic setting for a game.
That's
the fact
what
that
it
you're
is.
going through levels of hell, like you're going to fight Lucifer, you're trying to save this girl, like. They kind of got muddled up in the details and like saying we're doing this great thing for games. Like, no, it's just that's such a great setting. Gives you some great characters, great imagery, and
Dante is a poet who's just sitting back analyzing hell when you read the poem.
Right.
This is entirely different in terms of how he's... And granted, I don't want to see a pure game retelling of...
that would be so
That would be
depressing
really boring.
and
And depressing. So,
And also, I still have the copy of Dante's Inferno on my desk. That's like
the one that's got hardcore
there's
Dante on the cover.
As inspired by the video game.
And it's like the video game inspired by the. And I oh god.
you know what? I'm all for it because if there's 5 or 6 kids
That learn
that
to read.
inadvertently end up reading that and like it, and then we have at least one more English major that can join our group of majors that don't know what to do with their lives once they graduate.
I mean,
college.
Political science.
There's something to be said that when we talked about Assassin's Creed 2, it made us so happy to see a publisher take a chance on a different setting, and like regardless of how you think that Dante's Inferno executed on the idea of the poem, the fact that was used for the setting for a game that had a commercial at the Super Bowl is a good thing for games, and if that encourages other developers to go outside their boundaries a little bit, like don't have to be a space marine, like.
Come on.
I really, because my mom didn't like video games as much, I played a lot of educational games as a kid. And I love Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego and all of this stuff. And I've been dying to see more of those elements come into games that I play now, because I play a very different kind of game than I did when I was really young. But like, I mean, that came with the Encarta, and you'd go through and you find all that, first it came with books, and then they gave you the CD of Encarta. And,
I remember that.
Oh, yeah. I loved them. I would still play
videos.
I'm sorry. All my teaching came analog, so mainly a dictionary.
You didn't play like
beaten
number
on my head.
munchers?
No. Well, thank you very much for reviewing Dante's Inferno. This probably will be the last that you and I speak of it.
Hopefully.
Yeah, for quite a few months
Moving
at
on.
least. Moving on. Question of the week. You wondered probably if we were going to be talking about Mass Effect 2 on this show, because we seem to have not gone 3-4 weeks without talking about Mass Effect 2.
I haven't played it yet. I think we should keep talking about it while I get around to it.
We keep talking about it, and you'll never need to play it.
Throw more
because
logs
we've
on the
already
fire. I'll
told
show
you
up soon.
everything.
But if we thought we could get out without talking about Mass Effect 2, no. G-Spot came up with our question of the week because it was smart.
JEE.
JEE spot.
Yeah, that's
G-Spot.
clarification on the guy's
Difference.
name.
Oh, yeah, I guess that does make a difference there, doesn't it? Oh, well, it's your handle. Here we go. After having played through Mass Effect 2 and Bioshock 2, I've noticed that some game developers sprinkle their games with certain philosophical ideologies, socialism and capitalism, Bioshock, and or discussions on some of the biggest human issues such as religion, politics, and social acceptance, Mass Effect. It's hard for me to think that a 15-year-old kid playing Bioshock sees the reference. Do you think the quality of these games would be as good as they are now without such thematic references, or do you think most of these things are missed by the majority of the consumers? Yes and yes.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much.
That's it for feedback.
Boom.
There we go.
No, I think that there's no question that some of the thought that went into, especially the first Bioshock, in terms of taking the Ayn Rand, psychology.
Yeah, how many people have actually read Ayn Rand who are playing the game in like 12? I don't know.
I don't know. But,
I'm 24. I'm 25 now, and I haven't read it.
Oh,
so.
really? You should. I mean, you should just to read it. You hate her, but
and especially if you're not kind of a precocious and slightly self-centered high schooler, you read Ayn Rand and you go, "Oh my God, you are a horrible, horrible person."
Yeah, you really do. I mean, it's impressive. But I mean, at the same time, they're very well written. Yeah, you go.
No,
right.
it's
I like encouraging people to read, but even if it's her.
But I think the fact that Ken Levine, there's this interesting philosophy that they were playing with in the course of it, and it really does offer a really strong foundation that you can build a game on.
Well, and then even
And
even
a story on.
Yeah, and even if you don't get sort of what's going on in those ideologies, it still sets up a good versus evil. So like you still like, oh, that's the bad guy, and you kind of know what you're going for. But if you know what is going on, it's much more of a gray area. But it kind of sets it up so that you can understand it without really understanding it.
And you know what? I think someone might know there's something smarter here than maybe in some other games. They made, it's no one's a bad person for not catching the reference.
Right.
But, I think more people actually can start to catch some of the stuff that's going on in these games than I think we actually.
If I were to simplify it, it's like how a kid and an adult can both enjoy a Pixar movie at the same time for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
That's
Even Sesame Street, it was like half
Yeah.
the jokes, were really kind of there for adults. It was fun. Parents would actually watch it with their kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like to watch. There's something comforting about it.
Should we check we checked your DVR
far,
With your
like
bowl of
season
cereal.
pass.
How much of this? I think another game series that this is very evident in is the Assassin's Creed series. Is that there's
Sure.
definitely philosophy.
Also, history.
I think
Yeah.
it's also
a lot
I
of
think
history
it's
goes
so-
over kids' heads.
But I think
And me.
there's so much philosophy of a particular type that's in Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
that
it's very
definitely going over
anti-religion,
people's-
too.
Exactly. The fact that
Oh,
there's
yeah.
never people having screaming fits about what's actually in the Assassin's Creed series shows that most people are not
Yeah,
getting
there's your
what's
evidence
happening
right
in
there. Yeah.
It's pretty
But
phenomenal.
I mean, the history in that, I like the inclusion that there is kind of the overarching philosophy of the game. Then the history is very, hey, okay, you can read this. Like, here's all the profiles of all the people. Here's all the things. So, that's not as, obtuse. It's a little easier to look through and learn the history of all the buildings and the people that you're meeting with. I mean, that's a little more forthcoming.
I think we're going to see more and more of this
I
as
hope
we go
so.
forward. And speaking of things that we're going to see more and more of, it will be us.
Feedback?
But we're going to have to, close down this feedback for this week. Thank you very much, Andrew, Abby, Patrick. For those of you watching this right now, it's weird because me and Andrew and Patrick are actually in Las Vegas.
Time paradox.
At DICE, and there's some really,
Lost
really
reference.
awesome stuff that's up on the site right now. So please do not think that you've had your fill with us here. Check out some of the really interesting interviews and talks that have been given at DICE that are exclusively on our site, G4TV.com. We will be back here next week, finally, with all of your requests, talking about the game Heavy Rain. So make sure you make it then and be with us all week long at G4TV.com. Thanks again. See you soon. Hello there. I'm Adam Sessler, host of X-Play, editor-in-chief at G4TV.com. I talk a lot about video games, and sometimes a camera is in front of me when I'm doing that. We call that Sessler's Soapbox. It takes about 2 minutes of your time, but trust me, you will hear invective and joy and probably a lot of rude things like you've never heard before in the context of video games. I do it for you, so you should check it out. It's up every Tuesday on G4TV.com.